Good evening. We start the meeting here on May the 17th. We'll have the invocation by the mayor, pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Wilson, and then we'll have roll call. Everybody please stand. Father, we come to you tonight and ask you to bless us and watch over us as we go about our city business here in the city of Ocoee, as the commissioners and the mayor handle their business and with the citizens' mind and the event that we're doing things that we should be doing for the citizens of this town. We ask you to watch over our first responders as they go about their daily business and working their way through the city and being safe. We ask you in your heavenly name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brunson is absent. Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
We got a couple of proclamations tonight. One's the National Peace Officer Memorial Day, which is done, and we have the Florida Emancipation, May the 20th. Award of the Chick-fil-A 5K beneficiary check, Parks and Recreation Department. It's going to be pouring tonight.
Give them a few minutes.
All right, we've got a couple minutes here. I'll do the staff reports. I'll come back to that when we got, wait a minute, staff reports.
I don't have anything this evening.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and do the police negotiations for them. We do the other. I want to do the police negotiations. Craig? Where's Craig? You want to handle that? I know it's on the consent agenda, but I want to let the gentleman talk here. So
Yes,
you can introduce him.
Mr. George Corwin, who is the lead negotiator for our police department, who represents the PBA, is here. And I will say, to his credit, I've never worked with someone that was more professional in a collective bargaining session. And I believe he filled out a speaker form, so if you want to come down. We're very happy to be able to work with him on these contracts. Both contracts, the one with the sergeants and the one with officers and corporals, took a matter of a few hours to reach tentative agreement, which, as you all are aware, and the public, that's not traditionally the case. And this gentleman here gets a lot of the credit, and the officers and sergeants get a lot of the credit.
Thank you, Craig, Mr. Mayor, members of commission, city officials. As Craig said, my name is George Corwin. I'm the chief negotiator for the Florida Police Benevolent Association. I came here tonight to thank everybody at the city. We couldn't do it without you, and I can't do it without the members of the police department. So I'm in between the city and the police, but we greatly appreciate the support that we get from the city and the city commission, the police administration, everybody across the board. We can't do it without you. It has to be cohesive. Both parties on each side of the table have to work together. They have to not only hear what the other party's saying, but listen. And too often times, they don't listen. They just hear what the other side's saying. I couldn't do it without Matt Sorrell and Sergeant Gomez. They were instrumental in working with their teams. They prioritized. They put everything in a nice package for me. We came in, we were in and out, and each contract was less than a day. So I want to thank you. You've done an amazing job, and we've come a long way in 3 years. This is my second contract, and I look forward to more.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that'll be on the consent agenda.
Let me see.
If not, I'll go ahead and do one more thing, Rosemary.
Okay, well, he's checking.
Well, I need you up here for this thing. You ready?
Yes, they're ready.
Okay, all right. Come on down, Beth. And where's Current? There, oh, there you are. taking the place of Mark tonight, Recreation Director.
All right, good evening, everyone. Today we are presenting a 5K beneficiary check to Southeastern Food Bank from this year's Music Fest and 5K. This is our 10th annual. I turn it over to Ms. Bev, who will talk more about the event, the sponsors, and also Southeastern Food Bank, who will kind of share more about the food bank. They're located right here in Ocoee as well.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. We are just so excited to be here tonight. We were able to bring back the 5K. Of course, we took a 2-year hiatus like everyone else, but this year it was amazing. It was our 10th annual. We share it with the city of Ocoee and Fravel Brewer Orthodontics, who do our kids' fun run. It's just an awesome community event. I just want to take a minute just to thank Torrin and his team, and Mark, just amazing to work with, and of course Fravel Brewer and their staff. They always just go above and beyond. We had a lot of support this year from the community, always. Our police department and our fire department always just come across and do phenomenal for us to make sure this is a safe and happy event for everybody that attends. Had a lot of sponsors. We appreciate every one of them, but most importantly, we appreciate the community. We appreciate the mayor and the commissioners that come out and support it. Local band, our high school band, Ocoee Band, comes out every year. We appreciate Mr. Hendricks and all the people that make it possible. We are already planning year 11. So you have a year to train, a year to get ready. We ask that you do that. But one of the highlights of this race and the 5K and why we love it so much is we give back. And we're excited tonight to give back to Southeastern Food Banks, who is a community nonprofit. If you don't know about them, I'm going to bring up their founder, Mark Anthony, so he can tell you a little bit about what they do. And we hope if you don't know them, you'll stop over by the Buffalo Fields and find out what they're about and how they're making a difference, not in just in our community, but in other communities as well. Mark?
Well, the good news, I don't like to talk, so I won't speak very much, but a few words. And Rosemary can talk more about it, so the mayor. But we're your local food bank. We are local, we are regional, and we're a little bit international. But in this area, we do food for families. I've been doing it for 30 years. 3 times a year, we sort, pack, and deliver to about 1,300 families in this area. 80% goes to this area. That is underwritten by Publix. We pick up 2 semi-loads from them. And we do a seniors program that we do in different counties. We've been working somewhere off of Adair there for one of them. And I guess the only 3 things that I like to tell people is we don't charge for anything, so that makes us a little strange. We're about faith because we like evangelistic programs. That makes us strange. And we look for nonprofits, even cities, government agencies, animal shelters, rehabs. We look for them to do business with us. So that is the 3 big differences with anybody else. So last year we did 9.2 million pounds. I think we'll go over 10 million pounds this year. And we just appreciate you all helping us so we can keep on keeping on, especially with the fuel and the trucks, the semis right now, and it's very costly. So thank you all very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And we were able to, this year, give them $1,380 that'll go back to help continue his mission. We want to make sure, again, if you don't know about them, please stop by, check them out. They have a volunteer program. They're always needing help. You can go back and just give back. People are looking for things to do to make a difference. This is something you can do to make a big difference for lots of people. And again, we appreciate everything. We love our community. Get ready for year 11. We're planning. And also, can't forget my operators. They're not here tonight, but Sid and Jeannie Boast, who allow us to do all that we do in the community and partner with these amazing groups and people, and eat more chicken.
Hey, tell us how many people were in the race.
This year we had registered 345. Yes, 345. So we would like our goal, my goal, inside goal, 500. So year 11, if you can help make that happen, we would love it. Because the more people that run, the more we can give back. And we really look forward to, again, next year, a local nonprofit will be able to be a benefactor of the race. So we look forward to seeing you guys out there.
I
Thank you.
will say that it is a well-run participation deal that you do. It's great organized.
If you
There's some
haven't-
energetic people at 7 o'clock in the morning.
We are, but we're, because you can't.
I went up there, I think it was 6:30 or quarter
Yes.
to 7. They were running around in circles warming up. I couldn't
Hey,
even run
you
around in a
can't
circle.
help but not get excited. And one of the things, a couple of the highlights, we have an Officer Dwayne Hunt, Investigator Hunt, that sings the national anthem. And if you haven't heard him sing the national anthem, it's good to just get up in the morning to come hear that, because it's amazing. And we start off with our local,
Yeah.
couple of our local churches that help us out, and again, the police and fire department. It's just a great community event. So if you haven't come out, again, we'll give you the date. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be early
Can
spring
we enter
again
a
next
golf
year.
cart?
Huh?
Can we enter a golf cart?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Hey, if you register, I'm good with it. All right, thank you again, guys. We appreciate you.
All right, I'll let Rosemary ride with me.
No, I need oxygen. Just give me some oxygen.
All right, we appreciate it. You come up front and get a picture. Come up front. Yeah, come on down here in front. We'll stand up behind back here. There you go.
Let's do like the turn.
I'll leave it for you.
That's right. You got two, Beth.
Thank you very much. You get some teeth work done with these people and chicken at the same time. Thank you.
You gotta get the teeth in there, that's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get two more of these out of the way while we're sitting here before we go into the meeting. The public comments under Arif Mohammed.
Good evening. How you doing? Good. Just here for the
What's
special.
your name?
Arif Mohammed.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Just here to speak about the special events permit for the road closure, June 5th. Basically, I host car shows within City of Orlando and basically Central Florida, and I'm here to seek approval for road closures.
Okay, well, I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Go
One of the
ahead.
things is, why did you pick Ocoee, not Orlando, or not where you live?
I've done multiple shows in Orlando, and 2019 we did a show in the same location, so I was hoping to do one more this year.
All right, the other reason I'm asking about if you want it downtown, but I talked to a couple of businesses since we had the last one, they had some problems. We'd rather maybe look at maybe putting it down here by the lake or somewhere, and we wouldn't interfere with closing down that main street. So what about having it by the lake?
I'm not sure if everyone will fit by the lake.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
So it will be kind of tough there because the area is small, and I have.
it's bigger than downtown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I could look into that, but it was Mickey and Cumberland. I'm requesting. It was Mickey and Cumberland. I'm requesting.
All of McKee.
All of Mickey and
The
Cumberland.
railroad tracks?
Yes.
You did a car show a few years ago.
Yes.
Okay. You want Cumberland and
Yes.
McKee.
Yes, ma'am.
What, like I said, some of they just said the other day they were kind of waiting on it, because we just had one a month or two ago on a car show down there, but why not put it down here? Because you got all the street down there.
Yeah.
Close it down too.
I never thought about it down here by the lake. Saturday, I went by each of the local businesses, and I kind of informed them that I have a permit. No, I don't have a permit yet, but I'm seeking.
But they're not open on Sunday.
Few of them are the brewery, the snow cone, and the donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather it be down by the lake.
Okay.
So that's
One
why
one reason also I wanted to have it there is because the barbershop, my cousin's barbershop, is right there.
Yeah.
So he's kind of sponsoring the event, so we wanted to promote
he's
him.
one of the ones that was upset about the last one.
Which one?
Barbershop guy.
How long ago? The previous?
Couple months.
Oh yeah, I don't know whose show was that, because he was the one that hosted the one in 2019.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be the one running this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
he-
I
he-
just tell you, he was one of the ones.
Yeah. So he was the one that actually got me the connection, if you would say, within the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I wanted to promote his barbershop also. That's why he
You
gave
gonna
me the
have
connection.
100?
I'm sorry.
You gonna have 100?
Yes. Yes. Well, 100 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any comment?
They submitted a permit, right? There's a permit.
Well, they got
request.
to. Yeah, they got to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have a flyer here I printed. If you guys want to take a look at it, also.
But we have to approve it.
Yeah, would you perhaps consider looking down by the lake before we move forward on approving or making a decision on this permit? And maybe just kind of.
I was kind of looking forward to
permitting?
having it in downtown because it goes with the theme. I was trying to have like a downtown show.
It is downtown.
Yeah, but within within the local shops also in the brick road. Yeah, I wanted to kind of have it like how we had it back in 2019 with the local businesses also.
Have you talked to the businesses that are actually open?
Yeah,
And
yes.
how do they feel about
So all of
closing
them-
their street down for their business? That's
All
the
of them were
concern I
pretty
have.
happy. The snow cone, they were pretty happy because it's gonna bring them business also with the donut shop. And the brewery, they usually have food trucks there. So I did inform them that I'm gonna have a food truck. So they said that they're not gonna have a food truck on their lot. They're okay with my food truck. So they were happy with it.
How far would Cumberland, because you have residents that live on Cumberland, how far do you
So-
want to go to the barber shop?
So
Yeah, for-
basically, Cumberland, I'm not gonna go all the way down to the residential area. You know where the brewery is?
Right?
Yeah, right there, I'm gonna stop there.
But what about the other side?
Not all the way down, so just basically, I can't remember that road's
Well,
name.
You'd have to stop without going to the residence.
Yeah.
Right past the barber shop.
Right past the
Yeah,
barber shop?
that's the street. I'm not gonna go over that area, that road. I can't remember the road, but I'm not gonna go over
Well,
that
that's
one.
Cumberland.
Yeah,
And then you go
so,
over to Floral. You're
yeah,
not
so I'm
blocking-
not blocking Floral. Floral is gonna stay open.
Okay, but you're only, I'm concerned about the residents that live, there's a few residents that live on the south side of the barber shop.
Okay, so that's, isn't that towards Mickey? McKee?
No,
That's towards Floral.
Mickey.
McKee.
Mickey's over at Disney. Wait a minute.
McKee, it's
I'm not from
McKee.
here. McKee, I'm sorry.
Yeah, McKee, yeah.
Yeah, Mickey. So with the residents, how could I say with
All
the
right,
residents?
anybody else?
That's the only concern I have.
You already asked.
I do have another question concerning, road closures, security.
Yeah. Who's
Have
paying?
they applied for, security
Yeah.
with the police department? That's all been,
Yes, sir.
taken care of as well?
I applied for it. I put the contract in. I'm just waiting on approval on that.
Well, where did,
Are you also,
Torn go? Is he still here? They have to pay for the putting out the,
Yep. I'm ready to pay for
you
everything.
pay whatever the permit fee is and
The
clean
trash.
up.
Yes.
Would you be providing porta potties as well?
Yeah.
So I spoke with Tila Scarborough. She's
With the city.
she's with the city. She's with she's actually the main person I spoke with. So last show we had access to the barbershop's bathroom. And
That won't work.
okay, I can get a
Not for 100 and something people.
I can get a porta
You
potty.
need
That's
to
no
get
problem.
Porta johns.
Okay, that's no problem.
You're right.
Yeah, I was just wondering, if you have that many people there, it's gonna be hard to use the restrooms in the facilities that's available, like the barber shop and the brewery. It probably would be a good idea to consider having,
That's fine.
porta potties,
Yeah.
for the use of the
Yep.
participants.
Right.
I can get a porta potty. That's no issue.
All right. All right, anybody want to make a motion to do it? Yep. You're the one putting it on, right? You
Yes,
and
sir.
Your cousin?
Me.
You.
He was in charge of the 2019. I'll be in charge of
Remember
this
now,
one.
you gotta pay for the cleanup
Yes, sir.
and setup, and you gotta have porta johns
Yep.
Police.
and police.
And police.
Yes.
Yeah,
Two.
That'll cost you two.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware of everything.
All right.
Yeah. It's gonna be pricey,
All right,
but it's
so-
okay.
I'll make the motion that we approve this permit.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Oliver made the motion.
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, I'm gonna go along with that, but like I said, he was one of the ones that said something to me about it.
Yeah.
All right,
So I'll
okay.
talk to him about that.
All right, let's vote.
I have a flyer if you guys also wanted to take a look
Okay.
at it.
Okay. If you brought some extra, that,
Rosemary, you vote?
yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Bretson absent. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Make sure you get the Portaton stuff added and the cost.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you very much.
You might
When
want to take a look at the lake shore.
Okay.
instead of,
Yeah,
just
thank
for the future.
I
Beautiful
looked
down
at
there.
it so I did a Toys for Tots last year in City of Orlando, and I was looking at it, but I only counted like 30 spots. So I don't know if I'm not looking at the whole area, but I
It
only
goes
counted.
all the way around the lake,
Okay,
so that's all right.
yeah,
Okay,
next show.
all right.
We'll
Pass
have
that
it-
around.
We'll pass it
I'm
down
gonna
and
do
put
one
it in
more.
the record,
Commissioner
okay?
Oliver,
Is this
you-
for us?
You tied into this one?
Which one is it?
Standing ovation?
Yes.
All right. Standing ovation. 3 minutes. Come on up.
Okay, that'll be for the record, I guess.
My name is Terry Burns, and I'm the Executive Director for Standing Ovation Talent Group. We're actually located inside the West Oaks Mall. I've been there for 7 years. As a matter of fact, Ms. Wilson was there doing our grand opening, cutting the ribbon for me. I've been in existence actually since 1997. So anyway, I prefer just to read a little bit. I won't talk much because passion, you know, when you have that passion, you can go all day. But anyway, Standing Ovation Talent Group is a nonprofit organization that utilizes dance, fitness, and poise to build self-esteem in our youth. It was founded in 1997, of course, by myself. Standing Ovation actually have a vision to make a positive impact in the youth and lives of the youth in our community by teaching dance as a true art and self. Standing Ovation offers several different performances throughout the year. And also, we are a competitive dance team that we travel as well outside of Central Florida. Matter of fact, we just competed in March at Gaylord Palms, and we competed on a regional level, and we have made it to national levels, which will be in July. That's upcoming. Dance are encouraged to excel academically. That's what they're required to do, and socially. It's to build their self-esteem. It's also to work on working on their character and leadership. And I realize it's very important in the community today, especially with what has been happening over the last couple of years. So I'm so excited to say that as an advocate for our youth, I do whatever I can do to make a difference in their lives. So keeping them in that mall, instead of walking in the mall, out the mall, getting in trouble, they're in the mall, they're dancing, they're learning about different things on how to be positive. So basically, that's what we do.
Okay, this is for you to,
Yeah, I met Ms. Burns about 2-3 years ago as I was walking through the mall, and I was kind of looking around to see what was going on, and I saw a bunch of kids dancing, and I was like, what is going on here? So I did meet her and start following her program, so I started supporting it as well. I know you have an annual performance at Dr. Phillips Center every year.
Yes.
So I definitely support that as well, but I also like to identify that you have a very diverse group of kids and instructors that actually go through that particular program. So I think there's different styles of music that you teach, a dance rather, different styles of dance that you teach.
That's
and I think
correct.
that is very commendable, so I definitely support you. I'm gonna make a donation to your Dr. Phillips performance that's coming up here by way of a check. So I wanna present a check to you guys. You guys can take a picture here.
Thank you.
Let's see if, you guys can just stand up.
yeah.
Just take a picture with her.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Good luck.
We'll continue to support you guys and what you guys do.
pass that? Consent agenda.
You didn't show us.
Consent agenda, do I hear
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, here, second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner First. Any more comments? All right, let's vote. Carries unanimously with Commissioner Brinson absent. No vote. All right. Let's see. First reading of ordinance is none. Second reading of ordinance, public hearing. Second reading of ordinance for the 429 Business Center, Phase 2, Small Scale Comprehensive Plan, Future Land Use Map Amendment from Low Density Residential to Light Industrial and rezoning from R1A Single Family Dwelling District to I1 Light Manufacturing Warehousing District. All right, zoning manager Whitfield.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, audience members. Tonight's agenda is, I'll try to move this and have the mouse still work.
Pull that mic up to you a little closer.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry. So the issue before the City Commission this evening is two parts. One, the first part is a small-scale comprehensive plan, future land use map amendment to change certain properties from low-density residential to light industrial, and then a corresponding rezoning from R1A to light industrial, or I1. The properties are located on the east side of Pine Street, about 462 feet north of Palm Drive. It's about 5.5 acres. It's also located inside of the State Road 429 Overlay District, specifically the business center character area. The character area is generally this area that you see here. It's specifically in sub-area A, and the property is that rectangular piece in orange. Sub-area A, one of the visions for sub-area A is to have developments with larger footprints due to the limited connectivity to the expressway. This is the business character area overall. As you can see in this table, this is from the vision plan. The goal for sub-area A is to have the majority of that area in pink be industrial at 65%, and then another 25% with office and institutional uses, and 10% as retail. This is an aerial of the property. This is the surrounding zoning maps, and the surrounding future land use categories. So as a little bit of a background, when we review a new comprehensive plan amendment, for this one, we looked at the requirements of the overlay district, the Ocoee study area, utilities, and transportation impacts. In terms of the overlay area, the overlay was done in 2017. There were 3 public hearings. At that time, no citizens came to the public hearings to speak in opposition or to raise concerns relative to transportation, excuse me, or impacts to residential uses in the area. As I mentioned, the business character area is intended to have larger footprint developments and a mix of uses. In terms of the Ocoee study area, this property is within the Ocoee study area. One of the requirements is that the subject site has to provide 35% open space and also provide other protections with respect to protecting aquifer and recharge and karst features and things like that in the area. In terms of utilities, the expectation in talking with the utilities department is that we do have available capacity in the facilities to accommodate demand coming from this map change, looking at the maximum development potential. But in terms of connections and sewer routes and water routes and things like that, that's looked at the site plan review stage. In terms of transportation, the base conditions were looked at, the projected base conditions were looked at, and the projected proposed conditions. So base conditions is everything staying just the way it is. The properties, as you saw in the aerial, is currently developed with 3 single-family homes. If we left the sites, the 3 properties as they are, that's our base condition. The projected base condition is if the development if the 3 properties were developed at the maximum development potential under LDR, low density residential, 5.5 acres at up to 4 units per acre is 22 dwelling units. That is the second scenario, projected base conditions. And then projected proposed conditions is the maximum development potential if the site were developed at the light industrial. A light industrial is developed at what's called the floor area ratio of 3.0. That means that for every 1 acre of property, 43,560 square feet can be developed. At a 3.0, it will be 3 times that number. So based on the max at 5.58 acres, it could be developed at 700,000 square feet. However, with the corresponding rezoning with a planned unit development, they're capping it at under 80,000 square feet. So in terms of looking at the transportation projections, the consultants for the applicant team is here. They provided a traffic study that looked at existing conditions of the roadways, projected out a 2% growth factor, which is commonly accepted. And they looked at the base conditions, the projected base, and the proposed projected. Out of that traffic study, 4 roadway segments were evaluated, were deemed impacted because of the number of trips that are going to those segments. The first 3 that you see here on this table, State Road 437, Ocoee Road, between Franklin Street and Silver Star, is not projected to have any failures. McGuire Road from Kissimmee Avenue to Franklin, also not projected to have any failures. There are 2 segments on 438. The segment from East Crown Point to 429 is not projected to have any failures under all 3 of those scenarios. The 4th segment, which is 438, between 429 and Ocoee Road, so that small segment. I highlighted in red the 2 red asterisks. That segment is projected to fail even if the site were left as low-density residential at 22 single-family homes. It would still be failing with the under the proposed scenario as well as the existing scenario. So I wanted to point that out, that even if this map change were to not happen, that segment would still be expected to fail if the 5.5 acres were developed with 22 homes. What's important that I'd like to point out is that the transportation consultant's traffic study, just as a clarification, it was not based on someone going out there and counting cars on the roads like you would if you were looking at a traffic operations analysis or looking at a specific site at time of site plan review. This is looking at the city's existing 2019 traffic counts and then adding in the vested number of trips. In other words, the trips that are coming from projects that have already been approved by the city, and then adding a 2% growth factor over a 5-year time period. Their study also didn't consider the planned improvements on the State Road 438, which is a DOT project that's coming in the future, as well as the, let me go back. Here, you can see my mouse. Pine Street in the character area overlay, the city plans to make this connection up north, heading north, and with this project, which is, the mouse doesn't want to move, this area here, the blue line, they'll be providing that east-west connection to the Pine Street extension going north all the way over to Ocoee Road. There's also the future, see if I can do this. This project that's up here, when they come in, they will be connecting, providing this east-west connection here. So when at some point in the future, when the city connects Pine Street up north this way, they'll be providing connections here. So every time you increase connectivity, you're decreasing congestion levels. So the traffic study that's done by this consultant for this application didn't include those planned improvements, which will help to alleviate congestion in this area. So the DRC had recommended approval. And the Planning and Zoning Commission met on this item last month, and they voted 3-2 with a recommendation of approval. The items that the commission discussed last month were relative to the traffic study itself. The question was asked by one of the commissioners as to whether or not, when traffic counts were taken. As I explained, they didn't do a traffic count type study. It was looking at existing traffic counts in our concurrency management system, adding in the vested trips, and then adding in a 2% growth factor. A question was raised in terms of whether or not this development would impact the access to the lots immediately to the south. So these two properties here, this one and this one, there is a 20-foot separate lot that's there. So this project site is north of that 20-foot tract. So the two residential lots that you see in this area will not be impacted by development on this site. A question was raised on whether or not the comp plan amendment and rezoning was a city staff initiated application or it was a privately initiated application. It was a privately initiated application. The applicant team is here. We also discussed whether or not this was a cleanup of the comp plan when the city adopted the overlay. That was pretty much it. We did not go to the next step, which is to have a city-initiated comp plan amendment or rezoning. It was decided at that time in 2017 to do it as each project came in. And then a question was raised as to whether or not this site and the site to the east of it will be coming in and developed together. We had a pre-application with the development team a couple weeks back. They showed us a conceptual plan that connects this side, which is it's called phase 2 now, with phase 1, which is on the east side of the canal. And in their concept site plan, they do show that 50-foot right-of-way dedication to the city to connect Ocoee Popka Road to the Pine Street extension. So with that, staff recommends that the City Commission approve the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment from low density residential to light industrial and rezoning from R1A to I1 for the properties located at 701, 707, and 711 Pine Street. And I believe the applicant team is here, and I'm also available for questions. Thank you.
I'll read the ordinance for the small-scale comp plan amendment. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use map designation from low-density residential to light industrial for certain real properties containing approximately 5.87 acres located on the east side of Pine Street beginning approximately 462 feet north of Palm Drive at 701, 707, and 711 Pine Street, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from single-family dwelling district to light manufacturing and warehousing district for certain real properties containing approximately 5.58 acres located on the east side of Pine Street beginning approximately 462 feet north of Palm Drive at 701, 707, and 711 Pine Street. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this time we'll open the public hearing. Is the petitioner here? Developer? Want to come up and speak, and we'll have anybody you can tell us who you are, and then we can have questions.
Good evening. My name is Jay Klima. I'm with Klima Weeks Civil Engineers, which are the engineers working on this for the applicant. And we're in full agreement with what the staff has presented, and we're certainly here to answer any questions you guys may have.
All right, that's it? Okay, just wait up. I got one citizen in the public thing, Cliff Sanders. You get 5 minutes, Mr. Sanders. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Cliff Sanders. I live on Sanders Drive, which is west of the proposed development. Haven't heard too much said about Pine Street. You've already okayed a cut through at the north of Pine Street to 437. This project's going to have another one cut through. Y'all are wanting Worst Road to come through to 437. All I can see is cut through traffic on Pine Street. We can barely pass one another now. The road is all the road is a clay street with some asphalt put on it about 50 years or so ago. It ain't gonna hold up. And we're just gonna be inundated with traffic. Palm Drive's already a racetrack. If you drive the speed limit, they pass you. And there's box trucks, semis, all this warehousing. That's what's going to be on Pine Street, along with everything else. So I don't approve of it, and I don't like it. So it's about all I can say. It looks like the demise of our neighborhood.
Just hang on a minute, Cliff. Sir? Yes, sir. Is there a road, when you were looking at cutting across, is that road gonna cut off Pine Street right past their houses and go out to 437?
Is which road? I'm sorry.
The cut through that you're gonna put in?
Mayor, can we bring it up on the screen so we can see
Well,
what you guys are talking about?
How about putting it back
Yeah,
up
so
on
that
the,
way everybody can kind of
put
see
it
what
back up on
we're
the screen
discussing.
with the map time?
Yeah, it'll be easier to see.
Clifford, you had 3 minutes and something left, so don't worry about it.
Right.
All right, show me the road that'll be there besides Pine Street.
So basically, the interconnect, is there, I don't see the arrow. So basically, as mentioned, there is the east parcel here, and this is the west parcel that's under consideration today. So there is access coming off of Apaka Road that would end up continuing through to what we're calling the west parcel, which is the one we're looking at now.
So,
And then that does connect to Pine Street.
yeah, but is there a way to make that where they can't come past that connection coming up to that housing development there?
In terms of,
Well, that Pine Street's not a regular, he's right about that. That's not gonna handle semis and that kind of stuff. I mean,
well, again, there's primary access would be coming over from Ocoee, Apopka Road in
That's what I'm
terms of that
saying.
access, yeah.
Is there a way to put it there where you cannot come into that area?
I mean, we'd have to talk about whether or not we would eliminate that access point
Well,
to,
it's not,
to Pine
you
Street.
coming out of there, you coming into there where he's talking about. That road's not it's gonna hold up to that.
So, Mr. Mayor, as part of the comp plan amendment, we did talk with Public Works as far as the improvements to Pine. At this time, the comp plan amendment, by the time we get to site plan approval, I think they're gonna be developing in stages. Pine Street wouldn't be getting truck traffic as it is. There would have to be a study.
You said it
And then
later on,
in the future, as part of,
that don't solve the problem, does it?
well, in order to send any truck traffic beyond passenger vehicles, we would have to study Pine Street, acquire right-of-way if it's necessary, and then widen it and make those infrastructure improvements.
Well, listen, I'm all for, we improve some stuff other places, and I'm all for it, but that's gotta be a different thing there, because one of the problems I see already is because on the corner where they sold Mr. Barker's house, they turned that into a business, and I didn't even know they made that commercial. That guy's got 20 vehicles parked out there already, just on that corner. So if you go putting that saying, if you're gonna cut that road through it, you can also come in on the very end where McCraney's place is at. Is that gonna have a cut through there? And if you have that one, why can they not go out there without coming into, on that Palm Drive or Pine Street at the end?
It's up to you guys.
I mean, if you're gonna put that road through, you might as well pull it out and go out to 437.
Yeah, so we have an east-west connection, right? And there's gonna be industrial and office, right? And it's gonna create jobs over here, so there will be people that will show up, to their office. And so most likely, most of the traffic will come off of Ocoee Apopka Road, like the 50-foot right-of-way going east-west. And there can be some traffic. I'm not a traffic engineer to figure out what stops people from going south, right? But we've done it on other projects before where we put, I think they call it a pork chop or something like that, to try and deter folks from coming south on Pine. We have no problem figuring out how to do that.
Clifford and I've known him a long time. I consider him a friend. I don't know if I am or not. But I will tell you that I was in Boy Scouts with him when we were 13 years old or something. So I've known him a long time. And his father, that needs to be changed, because that is not a good place to put that intersection with that curve, especially coming out with, I know that there's gonna be a lot of trucks and stuff coming out of it. So that, if it cut through back to 437, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But with that part, I do have a problem. I'm just one
Yeah,
person. Like I said, I'm not against your business.
Yeah.
But I am against.
Sorry, where?
I think he's talking about right here.
I can't see you.
So I'm gonna let, you just stand there, and then we'll get it all out together here.
Oh, right there.
Commissioner Wilson,
I have a question.
then we'll answer it all.
I think this goes to Ms. Whitfield. That, when we approved the property where the blueberries are, what was the plan to come from the back of the blueberry? Do you know what I'm talking about?
There's a cut.
There was a cut through, but where was the cut through? Was that coming down Pine Street?
I understood it was Pine Street going north, crooking over to 437.
Yeah,
There's a house there now that's gonna be demolished.
yeah, they bought that one.
Right, when we were coming up from the back of the blueberries, if I'm correct, I'm just gonna call it blueberries, sorry.
Yeah.
Where you have, is it Dimitri Street or, I can't think of the name of the,
Yeah.
It's
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
the Mastis Lane
The
area.
Mastis Lane,
yes.
thank you. What was the plan, wasn't there, we coming through the back of the property and come down, was that coming down Pine Street? Is that, I'm
It
just,
comes off 437, runs up the side of McCraney's property into Pine Street. Is where it comes to. Yeah.
but was there eventually, did we discuss there was going to be access there
On the
coming
sou-
through the back?
On the south side of, I think it's called Progress Commerce, so Beltway 429, that one, that east-west driveway, roadway is on the south side of that project. Damascus, I think, is on the north side.
North side.
of the
No,
project.
Yeah, it's on the north side, correct, but what I'm asking is that, was there the access road coming up to Pine Street from that property?
If Pine Street were to connect ultimately, that would be the ideal situation, but we are yet still studying that.
Okay,
So right now, there's no connection, of course, and
There
then we
was
have
the
to consider,
potential.
yes, ma'am, and protecting the canal as well.
okay,
All right.
all right, that's,
Let me just add this, Mayor. We would want the truck traffic to go back to Ocoee Apopka Road. So we will do whatever we can,
Okay.
traffic engineering
I'm just asking,
wise,
'cause
to
I
get.
know-
Well, it's not just the truck traffic from your development.
Yeah.
It's the bleed-off traffic from 437, making their cut through going to Winter Garden, the shortcut.
To go up and around or
Like
something
I
like
said,
that.
dead end there, right past where he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because if you know, they'll be doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
not, I'm not against your business, I just,
We'll do whatever we can to make sure that, it fits, right? We don't want to impact the surrounding.
Yeah, I just don't want to have to take a number like at the deli to get out.
Right, no, I hear you, I hear you, I agree.
all right, I'm gonna let the commissioners finish up. You got a comment?
Yeah. Those roadways, the cut-through and everything, they're unimproved now and non-existent. Who and when are you going to put those roadways in there and improve the existing roadways, mainly Pine Street? Who's responsible for that?
I'll have to confirm with Mike, but I believe that would be something that the city is studying now. It's not a private project at this point.
Okay. The traffic studies in the package, they were kind of uninforming, a little misleading. What did the traffic studies for this project actually say? How many trips is it going to be adding to Pine Street?
I don't have a copy of it in front of me, but the distribution were to the segments that I had pointed out in this table, but none of those trips were going to Pine Street because it doesn't go anywhere at this point.
But the cut-through doesn't exist, right?
Right. So when you run a model for a transportation study, you can't the model won't let you send trips to a road that dead ends. You can't manipulate the program to do that. It only can send trips to roads that actually make connections.
So we're not going to know until the project's complete.
You'll be before that, you gotta go through the site plan.
Right, but I mean, if the commission decides to not vote yes and pass the amendment, there wouldn't be a site plan to do because the future land use designation wouldn't allow for the use.
Okay,
So there wouldn't be an opportunity to look at traffic connections and circulations and whatnot.
Has anyone showed an interest in developing these properties residentially?
Do you want to speak to your buyer? No.
No?
We've not received any interest in it, not city staff.
Okay.
Did you want to let him finish his 3 minutes?
You gotta talk into that mic, I cannot hear.
Mr. Mayor, do you want him to finish his 3 minutes, or?
I'm done. Don't worry, I got taxed, how much time he's got.
Okay.
He's just standing there in case we do ask him something.
I was just going to make a couple of quick points. So for one thing, tonight, all we're looking at is the comp plan amendment and the rezoning. We're not looking at final design of a project. So I think bigger picture wise, the other thing is this particular piece of property is interior, if you will, to the overall business center plan the city's wanting to develop this area into. It's not at the edge, it's more in the middle portion. So that's important. I think the other thing that we were just chatting about is the cut-through right-of-way is not something that we have to have. It could stay a portion of the private property without having that be a public right-of-way. But that's that's a topic that we would work out in that next phase of the effort.
But if you do that, then the only in and out to your property would be Pine Street then, right? From the center?
No, we would be able to get to Ocoee Apopka Road, which is where we want the truck traffic to be coming from.
Okay.
All right, I'm on.
So, but again, I guess my point is that those are all design level issues which are not the subject of tonight, I guess is all I'm saying.
I'm gonna let Commissioner Albert talk, and then I got a citizen who will talk. You can't not say what you're gonna do there, because I don't wanna vote for something and then you not do it. I know these are good developers, I know that. Sure. But you gotta kinda say that to the citizens. I don't wanna say, oh, we'll get to it later, because sometimes the later don't ever come. So, I'm just saying, you can't say, no, we don't have to do that now, we're just doing the cut, but that's what he's here about, asking about. That, and there is more down the road, but that's the main part, is where he's at there, I know. So, Commissioner Oliver?
Couple of questions. First, can you describe what light industrial looks like? Give me an idea of what light industrial looks like. Because again, we're throwing these terms around, light industrial. We're talking. I think most of us understand what residential is. We understand that, but we don't understand what light industrial is. So just give me an idea of what that looks like.
It's basically warehouse and flex space where you're building a box so you can have a retail in the front and then warehousing in the back, or the entire building itself could be built to look like a retail shopping plaza, but the internal use would be maybe an office function of headquarters of a company, maybe some sort of company that sells things, but it might be serving as their headquarters, things like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. What is the square footage of the warehouse or this light industrial will look like? What that footprint look like at that particular, on that property? 5.58 acres?
So for a comp plan amendment, we have to analyze based on the max. At the max, 5.58 acres is 700,000 square feet and change. At the comp plan amendment stage, the commission has the authority and the ability to set limitations. You can limit the amount of footprint. The concept plan that the development team has submitted to staff is at 70,000 square feet. So out of 700,000 square feet, they are presenting it at 70,000 square feet.
Okay, all right. My next question is, we have two members of our planning and zoning board that's here. They voted on this 3-2. One of the members, I believe, voted yes, one said no. So I'm just curious to know, what was the opinions on the planning and zoning as far as?
I'd rather not have it.
Okay, I'm just curious to know what was their comments on this particular project as far as, 2 voted yes, two voted no, and 3 voted yes. So, again, I was just wondering what that conversation went like. And of course, it passed, but for me, I would like to have all the information before I make any decision on this particular project. Again, so I would have to do more research to find out. I would have to look at the complete report and read it and find out what was said and what were the opinions before I could even make a decision on this.
Hold on. Was that not in our packet?
Yes, sir.
It's in the packet.
Yeah. But it doesn't tell me
Yeah.
what the opinions were.
Yeah.
I have no opinions. I have no basis on, this member voted yes, this member voted no, but it doesn't give me a basis as to why they're making these opinions.
Did you get to read this? The minutes from the,
I see the minutes right here.
But while we're talking about that,
Third page.
just real quick, I personally don't particularly like put the planning and zoning board. That's why I don't go to planning and zoning board members' meetings, because I don't want them to ask me what my theory is, because they're there to tell me, then it's up to us to decide that decision. That's why I don't go to those meetings and to hear theirs, because I want to sit here and see what I'm going to say, read through what I'm going to read. So I really don't like them doing that. They're here as citizens, not as a board.
I asked that because we've had several meetings before in the past where they have injected their opinions as to why they voted a certain way.
Yeah,
So therefore, now I don't see, the conflict here. The problem is because we've done it before. And we've made decisions based on them injecting their opinion at this commission.
I make my decision on what I think, not what they're thinking.
Well, it helps to make a decision as long as I know what their
I'm gonna let
thoughts is.
Mr. Lumnack, he's a citizen.
Brad Lomnack, Veronica Place, here as a citizen, not as part of the Planning and Zoning Commission. As part of the Planning and Zoning Board, we should never come up and bring our opinions here. We make a recommendation, we bring it to the board, they do the rest. What I want to say on this topic is, this is a CRA, it's a character area. You guys already spent the time to build this area and to build it as a light industrial retail area. It's not supposed to have, when it's built out, it's not supposed to be residential. It's supposed to be light industrial, and that's what it's built for. If you look, there's already, with the blueberry farm that was there, that's already taken over. They're gonna have their road that they have, I believe part of the package, they donated that road, right, to go from Ocoee Popka to Pine Street. And the overall plan of the CRA is to have Pine Street go straight through all the way back to that blueberry farm, right? So that's what that area is for. That's why the construction company's there on the front, starts with a V, I forgot the name of it, Vermeer. That should be light industrial all the way from the corner of Palm all the way down. That's what you guys spend a lot of time and a lot of money for. So yes, I understand it sucks, right, getting into that, but that's, at the end of the day, that's what you guys have made it to be that way. So
This is part of it. This is the first steps, right? It's the same way it's gonna be with downtown. It's the same way it's gonna be with any other character we have. We've got to change that area to do what you've put into place.
Well, things do change, and things can change, but I didn't vote to do that in Pepin for that Sanders. I did it from the ditch or just behind those houses on Sanders back to 437. And on the far end, where there's no houses at, on Pine Street.
I guess I would say,
One house.
what's the difference in that and city
It's
furniture
my
on the other
opinion.
side? No, absolutely.
I'm just
Sure.
telling you, that's
100%.
what I'm saying. I'm not gonna tell that man that's lived there, I don't know how many years, I ain't gonna tell him how old he is. I don't know if he lived or his father lived there. I'm not gonna tell him that I'm gonna take their place and make it, I don't like what they did on the corner.
Yeah.
Turned it into a goat farm and a roofing company.
Hopefully it'll change soon.
That's terrible.
Yes, okay, thank
I
you.
don't know how that happened either. Okay, I don't get into all that. Did you read that, what she was pointing out to you?
I read the discussion,
Okay, all right.
they're very abbreviated.
All right,
I
here's-
read the discussion, they are very abbreviated.
We could, all I'm telling you is what my feelings is it's gotta change before it comes on that last part. You're gonna put that cut through over to 437, that's where it's gotta go. They gotta come there. If you don't, they gonna make Pine Street that. So, some things have to not change, whether we want it to or not. Some things don't need to change. You know, just because we did an overlay at one time, there's things change. Now, like I said, I know these guys and I know they're good developers, but I'm not for doing that to him.
We don't mind limiting the access and pushing everything east if that's what y'all want. That was a request from the city for access via Pine and Ocoee, Apopka Road. So if that needs to be limited until such time the city improves Pine, we're fine with that as well. So we would actually prefer everything to go that way. So we're fine with that, and we do it.
You put that on public record right now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Question. Up to the mic, Clifford. Up to the mic.
Really?
Yeah.
One question about the flex space. Where is it gonna face? Is it gonna face the canal or Pine? And it'll be commercial or business, people coming and parking.
Flex space is a lot better than the warehouse space.
So flex typically is industrial and office. It's flexible, right? There's retail, there's office, there's showroom, there's warehousing. In these buildings, the way we have it is the office or the retail or the flexi showroom area is facing Pine, right? So all of the cars would go back out to whatever that cut through would be. And so we would limit the access
Oh,
and
okay.
not send it on
If you're
Pine
gonna
if you would too.
block it off at Pine.
That was something that we'd be fine with. The city wants the connectivity, so we'll do whatever.
Well, what connectivity? By taking it on down Pine all the way?
I believe that the city, given the blue area up there above sub-area D, would like the connectivity between Pine and Ocoee Road long-term. And so that's, we were trying to do what the city wanted.
That road's cutting through that property where you at on 437, right? That
Yes.
road's coming between those two properties.
It's on our
That's
property.
what I'm talking about. That road will be the one.
It would come out to
Yeah,
437,
come out
yes.
to 437.
Yeah.
Mayor, I do have one last question.
All right.
I would like the resident, I'm sorry, sir? I'm sorry. Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Smith? Mr. Sanders?
Yeah, he has a question for you.
I have a question for you. Yes, sir. Understanding you're a resident there, and I certainly understand what you're saying here about this particular project. I get that. Let me ask you a question. What would you like to see at that property?
Housing, I would like to see. We've got gobs of warehouses now, and all of them are not filled. So people need somewhere to live. It's hard to live in a warehouse.
Okay.
All right. You got a comment?
I just have one comment. You know, we worked very hard on this overlay, okay, to make this, it fits into the 429, and I understand the business part of it, we did work with that. I hate to say this, but probably one day we are gonna see Pine Street open. I mean, I don't think I'm fooling you by saying that, because I look at what the blueberries eventually, when that's gonna, I'm sorry, the blueberries is not. you get stuck in a pattern here. But, you know, I figure one day, maybe not in my lifetime, but we'll see that Pine Street probably will get open at one point. I appreciate the aspect that you're willing to go out onto a Popka Road. And I have to stand behind the overlay that we did. And I mean, you may not like me voting the way I'm gonna vote, but I feel strongly that with the overlay that we worked on, that we wanted to make that light industrial. And I wish at that point, I'm sorry, I don't know if you didn't know that there was, when we were working on that overlay, that you weren't aware of it? Maybe not, maybe you were,
Too busy making a living.
Okay, but, you are surrounded there by some industrial, some light industrial. And I understand, we never wanna see change. We love the way, you have a great area back there, I know right where you are.
Yeah, we're the
It's peaceful.
orphans.
And you've got a lot of family right in there, it's all peaceful.
Yeah,
All right.
was.
Well,
All right,
still.
all right, here's, go ahead, you can sit down, Clifford, I know you owe you money, you can sit down like I do.
Thank you.
Proceed down.
All right, so we're gonna, anybody else in the public have any comments? You gotta fill that form out.
I did.
Oh, I don't have it. All I got was Clifford's. Huh? No?
Next one, is it?
No. Yeah. Ooh, I do have it over here. Okay. Here comes the boss.
And I have to read because I'm no public speaker.
That's all right. Come up and give us your name and all, so.
My name's Lindsay Sanders, also proudly known as Mrs. Clifford Sanders, and our home is at 603 Sanders Drive. The maps being used this evening refer to the area in question as the 429 corridor. Those of us with homes there refer to the area as our neighborhood. Since the early 1950s, five generations of my husband's family have lived, and some still live, in this neighborhood. The 429 arrived in the area long after we and many other residents did. We've already lost enough to that highway. It's noisy, we can't see sunsets anymore. It ruined it. The following is a quote from an interview in the February 18th, 2021 edition of the West Orange Times-Observer. Quote, I want to maintain the charm of our city to not be disturbed by zoning decisions that would place industrial projects near residential homes. Fortunately, Ocoee has many existing industrial areas to support commercial growth, unquote. This is a quote from one of our commissioners. It perfectly expresses our own feelings in this matter, and I hope it expresses the feelings of the rest of our commission. Let's put on the brakes as far as adding more industrial zoning, especially in existing residential areas, until what already exists in the West Orange area is being fully utilized. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, now that that's the last one, I'm gonna bring it back to the podium.
Mr. Mayor?
Now, here's the problem. We have one commissioner out tonight, so.
It's up to you if you want.
Yeah.
You could, one recommendation would be to approve it with the condition that the developer work with city staff to direct traffic to Ocoee Popka Road and limit traffic on Pine Street until Pine Street is approved. That seems to be acceptable to the developer and one of the main concerns of the resident.
Is that,
Yes.
all right, is that it, Mr. Sanders? I'm sorry I called you Clifford.
That's
I'm
all right.
supposed to call you Mr. Sanders. You're younger than me, though, so.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson.
So is that okay with you?
Yeah, I guess so. It's gonna be the best we'll get out of the deal anyway.
We just don't want a domino effect.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate your comments. Lot of college come out of that area up there. Okay, all right, so we need a motion. The only way I'll vote for it if we go with what you're saying, and he agrees to
Yeah.
Mr. Sanders. So I will, that's the way I will vote, so we gotta put that in. So anybody else? I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the small-scale comp plan amendment, provided that what you just
Provided
said.
that the developer work with city staff to limit the traffic, to direct the traffic to Ocoee Poplar Road and limit traffic on Pine Street until Pine Street is improved.
Exactly. I'd like to preserve the residential character of that neighborhood the very best that we can.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Forster, seconded by Commissioner Wilson.
I'd like to make a motion that we disapprove it. I make a motion that we disapprove it until they can come back with a comprehensive plan that shows us that they're going to do this, and it's actually in writing and on paper as opposed to a promise that's made at the podium.
You had a motion, I got a motion on the floor, but I have no second. Motion dies for lack of a second. All right, as I said, this is, and I think, I'm just telling you, I'm voting that way because I feel that way for the family. I know what it is. And even with doing what we're doing, it's still not the same as houses.
Mr. Mayor, could there be a vote to just continue it till next month?
Well, it's not gonna, it's still gonna go through the same thing again.
We would have the opportunity to work with the developing team
But
to,
we've got it by what he said. They've agreed to it.
Mr. Mayor, Craig Shadricks, Assistant City Manager. I just want to remind the commission, the approval here is for a land use amendment and rezoning. And it comes back to you for a site plan. All right, okay, I just want to remind.
It still don't hurt to put it on public record. Huh? Okay.
City
So that's-
Attorney,
So, everybody understand that, right?
sorry. So I had a motion and a second for approval with the condition, and then another motion that failed. So did we vote on the first motion? Because I don't
We
have,
vote,
I
we
don't
vote
have
on
a
the
vote.
first.
I don't
There
have-
is no second motion because it died from lack of
It
second.
definitely didn't have a second.
But there was a motion by Wilson,
We
second.
got to, now we got to vote on that.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
that's what I wanted to make sure.
Now
we
we're
voted.
ready for
Yeah, I
that.
second that.
Yeah, she
I
seconded that
seconded it,
motion.
yes, and
Now
Rich.
we can vote. Now, I'm telling you, that's what I'm voting for, that we go ahead and do with what they're saying and put it in paper. All right? Everybody agree to that?
Okay, so we're voting, if we vote yes, we are
Yeah.
approving this
Yeah,
with
with
the.
agreement to do on the road. All right?
Okay.
All right, motion carries 3-1, with also Commissioner Brinson absent. All right, everybody, I hope we can get this thing done, do it with, where everybody's happy.
Need to approve the zoning also.
Oh, we gotta do the zoning, don't get up and go nowhere. So now we're gonna vote on the zoning.
The zoning motion would be the same motion to approve the rezoning ordinance conditioned upon working with city staff to limit or direct traffic to Ocoee Poplar Road and limit traffic on Pine Street until Pine Street is
Now,
improved.
we go to public hearing again. Anybody wanna talk about the zoning, which we've kinda done that already. So I'm gonna close the public hearing, bring it back up to the podium. We need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the rezoning ordinance, provided those stipulations.
Motion made by Commissioner Forster, your second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries 3-1, with also with Commissioner Brinson absent. All right, people, thank you very much. We'll see you back again. Thank you. Public hearing. Nobody? Yes. Rick?
Citizen
Yeah,
comment.
that's under comments, you going, right? Yeah, I hadn't got to there yet. Yep, public hearing. Regular agenda, none. Comments from citizens, you're legally a citizen, aren't you? Yeah. I know you've been up in New York for a couple of weeks, so that kind of hinders it.
Is it raining?
Hope you didn't pick up any bad habits.
Boy, I weigh about 50 pounds more eating all that steak up there. It was crazy. Brad Lomneck, a representative of the Human Relations Diversity Board. I'd like to tell the commission and the citizens that May is the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. To celebrate, the city's Human Relations Diversity Board sponsored a competition called Hello Asian American and Pacific Islander Project, where the Ocoee Elementary, Citrus Elementary, and Prairie Lake Elementary and the Renaissance Charter School participated in an art contest. We selected a couple winners. They made some really great art projects. They are, if you can stop in City Hall, they're all the artwork is displayed, and the kids did a really great job. I believe first place got $50, $100, and I think second place got $50. So there was a lot of great artwork. So the kids did great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Great job.
Anybody? That's it. That's all I got. Let's go to the commissioners. Commissioner Firstner.
It is Asian Cultural Month, and we are having a festival this Sunday, May 22nd, at the Lakeshore Center. It'll be held from 11 until 4 p.m., free admission, free parking. I'd like to see everybody come out and celebrate the Asian culture. The only other thing that I wanted to say is that keep in mind, June 1st, hurricane season starts. It's not too early. We're only days away from that. It's always wise to prepare early and get as much information as you possibly can to see what you need to prepare yourself and your families for the upcoming hurricane season. We've been very lucky in the past few years as to not get direct hits or even, bad grazes from these hurricanes, but one of these days it's going to change, so be prepared. Thank you.
Commissioner Oliver.
May 14th this year, a mass shooting occurred in Buffalo, New York, at a supermarket. It was in a Kingsley neighborhood on the east side of the city. 10 people were killed and 3 others were injured. The shooters live streamed the attack on a social media website. And as we heard about this horrific crime, some say it was a hate crime. Some say it was mental illness. So everyone has an opinion as to what it may be, but it does not change the fact that folks lost their lives, that we had 10 people that were killed, no matter how you describe it, as being hate, or it may be anger, or whatever it may be. 10 people lost their lives in one day because of gun violence, because of someone had access to a gun that may not have been stable. And the thing about it is, if it was a hate crime, we have to understand that folks are not born to hate. We're not born that way. We're taught to hate. And it goes to say that the slogan that we've been hearing for so often is, if you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. And if you are in any location where you see something, say something, because you just don't know how many lives or what lives may weigh in the balance if you don't report it. So my whole point is to say that regardless of how we define it, the lives were lost, they're gone, and the ripple effect of that is probably going to go far greater than Buffalo, New York. So again, if you see something, say something. Let folks know, let authorities know what's going on and what you saw, what you observed, and you just may be preventing something like this from happening. Also, last meeting, I talked about the traffic light at the corner of Ocoee and Ingram Road, and the county just was not moving fast enough on this particular project. I have had several conversations with the county at almost every level, and I was told, this is what I was told, that we should start seeing some activity at that corner as early as July. So that's what I was told. I should be getting a email stating that, so I'll have it on record, and I will continue to follow that and to see, follow up on that to make sure that they do what they say they're going to do, because so far the county has failed us in their promises at that particular intersection, but we will continue to look out for that and hold them to their promises. I had the opportunity to speak to our clerk's office about the cemetery, our Ocoee Cemetery. And as they were looking at, we have an ordinance that actually we're trying to uniform our cemetery, so we kind of get some things out of there. And in their quest to make sure that we are compliant in our cemetery, they have ran across a lot of different stories. The cemetery, there's a lot of unmarked graves, and the cemetery has stories to tell. There's lots of stories, lots of different people, and I was apprised of one story that there was a young lady that was murdered. She lived in Ocoee back in the, I want to say the 80s, 70s, 80s, I'm not sure what it was, but they found her body somewhere in South Orlando, but she has a grave here in Ocoee, and they had it marked with just a rock, and because the family could not afford some type of marker. So one thing that I want to do is as I start to hear these stories about the cemetery is be able to figure out a way that I can help out to put some type of marker there, maybe one or two. I know we can't do them all because I believe there's hundreds of unmarked graves there that we just probably can't tackle all at once. And I'm going to take it upon myself, and I'm going to ask the commission to consider maybe just looking at taking one or two graves and say, let's put a marker there.
Did you
And
stop?
I'm sorry.
Just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Stop that clock. This has already been brought up, Commissioner.
Yeah.
I brought this up this past week and was told not to do that yet by the city clerk. I've already brought that up. I got a copy of all the ones that are not gonna have a stone on it. Same people you're talking about. But I was told specifically not to do that till they're finished with it, till we see what all and what it is. So I brought that same thing up last week to the city clerk's office about the ones, there's three right now. Because I was gonna go ahead and buy them myself and get them. But she told me, no, don't do that till we're done with what we're doing.
Okay, I agree. So again,
Let's wait.
we can wait, that's fine. So the whole point is that there are hundreds out there. And if we were to take just at least one or two, even three, and say, let's put something there on behalf of the families until they can afford a headstone, a proper headstone. And I think, and again, Mayor, I think your point is very well taken, because I agree with you. And if we need to wait until everything's done, until we get the ordinances straight, that's fine. But at least we have a plan to say, this is something that we're going to do as a commissioner or individuals or whatever it may be to help those families identify their loved ones. The thing about it is what gets to me is the fact that if a person is buried and no one can find them or whatever the case may be, I think everyone deserves some type of dignity, even in death, regardless of who you were when you were alive. I believe that it would be just terrible to have walked on this earth and be buried somewhere in an unmarked grave as if you never existed. We have information of folks that's there with unmarked graves, and if we have the information, I say we should actually look at ourselves, maybe individually, as a collection, a collective group, or individual. It doesn't matter, but as long as something's get done. So I will make a commitment to help out whenever the time is right. I will make a commitment to try to help put some headstones there or some type of markers so the loved ones can find their deceased members. Also, this summer, I will be hosting a youth leadership scholarship program this summer. I'm going to post this information, leadership programs in civics, leadership, life skills, as well as scholarships. I'm going to post this information on my Facebook page. It's at George Oliver 3rd, District 4, City of Ocoee, on the Facebook page. So I'll put information about these leadership conferences. So if you know any kids that's interested in learning about civics or learning about leadership, life skills, those kind of things, I'll put information out there so you can have your kids go out, or you can go out for your kids if they don't have anything to do this summer. Learn something about civics, learn something about life skills, learn how to write a check, learn how to balance a checkbook. Some of those just basic skills that some of our youth seem to have eluded some of our youth. So I'll be hosting that this summer, and I'll post that information there. Also, I had opportunity earlier today to visit Ocoee High School. The PTSA did a teacher appreciation luncheon today. It was hosted by the PTSA along with an organization called Mailbox Money, where they do random acts of kindness. And it was actually coordinated, the food was coordinated by Bar 5. It was a very successful event. The teachers were really, really surprised, and they were really happy to get this. One of the teachers just had she just had a newborn. They gave her diapers, they gave her money, and they were really happy to have this done on their behalf. And again, they are true heroes. They're actually out there on the front lines with our kids, training our kids, educating our children. And I thought it was just important that I show up to support that particular effort. So whenever we have an opportunity, and I know everyone up here has had opportunities to support our high school, may it be for a high school dance or a sporting event. So just again, as a commission, I want to thank the commission for everything that they've done for these high school kids at Ocoee High School, as well as other high schools. So we're definitely, we take it very serious when it comes to our youth, and I want to thank you for that. But today was great for our teachers at Ocoee High School. And finally, I'll leave you with this quote, and hopefully this will inspire someone, somewhere. Practice like you never won, but play like you never lost. That was a quote by Michael Jordan. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, I guess the cemetery brings up an issue that I went through there the other day, and they are starting to post the grave sites that, because the city is going to plan on cleaning up the cemetery and having folks abide by the rules that we all signed for when we bought plots there. So they are starting to post some of the grave sites, so it might behoove you to go over and check them out to see if maybe your family's site has been marked for some form of violation. It sounds horrible to say a violation at the cemetery, but adhering to the guidelines that we all agreed to, whoever bought in the cemetery. The other thing is that I guess we've talked about speeding so many times, and I don't know, again, folks are gonna get ticketed. It's as simple as that. I personally don't wanna see you get ticketed, but I want you to adhere to the speed limit. The other morning, I'll just give the example, at 6:40 a.m. going down Orlando Avenue, going 30 miles an hour, was passed on a double line with someone that made it to the light well before us, and at Clark, because we could see them. But it's the aspect that, please, at that point, there could be children waiting for buses, high school children waiting for buses, walking if they're walking to school. We need to be conscious of that. And we talk about it, but hey, if you're pulled over and you're doing that, I'm glad to get your money. Hate to say it that way, but I'm happy to get it. Because you should be leaving either 10 minutes early if that's the case, if you're in a rush. You have an emergency, we understand. That's something you would tell the officer. But if you're just traveling to work, going 50 or 60 down Orlando Avenue in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, that's wrong. So, again, we have signs up telling you the speed you're going. I wasn't close enough to see how fast this person was going at that sign, but I'm sure it was quite high. So, again, we need to think of our pedestrians. You talked about life is important. And your life is important. You could have an accident and kill someone, kill yourself going that speed. So please, be careful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Last Thursday, I and Commissioner Brunson were out at Ocoee High School for the ride-through for seniors graduating for 2022. They have this new thing that started back during COVID where they ride through, the seniors ride through on the cars and trucks and family and parents. It's really a good thing, really. You get to see a lot of happy people. Some of the parents were real happy, I think. So that was last Thursday. Commissioner Bress and I stood out and had a good old hot weather and waved. So then Friday night I went to give a talk at the Ocoee High School, but it was for Citrus Elementary, 4 grades of 5th graders graduating from 5th grade to the 6th grade. And it was about, they wanted me to talk about the goals you set, about setting goals for your future, which I think that's a good thing in 5th and 6th grade. You start thinking about what you want to do when you get up to high school and then on into college. So that was and it was packed. I couldn't believe the parents that showed up. It was full house at the high school, and it was a big auditorium, so that was a good thing. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I talked to Rob about it, and I don't think his thought process maybe wasn't mine, but property. There's a property for sale on the corner of Blueford and Oakland and Blueford. We need parking. See, all of us sit up here, we're begging people to come here downtown. We have no parking. So that corner is for sale. It's a big corner enough to put a temporary parking with a downtown parking place. We buy it, hold it for 5 years like Winter Garden did, and then when it tells we have other parking, we can turn around and sell that property to somebody that'll come in and build an office building, restaurants, or anything, or townhomes on top of this. But folks, we need to have a consensus maybe to get him to look into it, because if we don't get a hold of some property, we don't have no parking. So it's a $700-something thousand, I think, but I'm telling you, down the road, we're gonna need the parking. And down the road, we can sell it, like Winter Garden bought property downtown Winter Garden. Now you can see the one across from the City Hall at Winter Garden that they bought, they turned that into a business. Somebody bought it and put a business in there with restaurants and other offices. So I'd like to see if we could come up with a consensus, maybe let Rob look into this. Because 5 years from now, we can sell it if we have to somebody like, to buy it and put it in an office or a complex. But right now, parking, now I went by tonight on the way here, it's packed at that little snowball place and the donut shop, it's packed. And so the other places, they're parking everywhere because of even the Toll Road Brewery is busy. So I think we need to look into that. And I know it's money, but the money part is gonna come back to us because we can have that down the road and sell it just like we're selling the Crittenden property. We've got a contract on that, so I'd like to see if we could work that, Rob, and see if there's a way of coming up with doing something with that. I mean, I know it's money.
Yeah. The first thing we'd have to do, Mayor, is we would have to get an appraisal on it.
Yeah.
So I know we have money in contingency. I think for a property of that value, it's probably going to be a couple $1,000. So we probably need $3,500 from contingency authorized to go ahead and get an appraisal. And we can talk to the broker. We can see where they are on that. Verify how large it is and come back with a recommendation. But we really can't move forward whether we want to actually, use the appraisal as a tool as to how much we'll offer or not. We still have to have it done, though.
Well, it's like everything else. None of it's, they're not cheap anymore. The property's not cheap. I was talking to somebody yesterday that they're building those new little condos across the street from the City Hall, Winter Garden, $1 million. $1 million for little condos. But the problem is, we want people to come downtown, and the guy has spent a ton of money on the buildings down there to start turning them into restaurants and shops, but no parking. So the one lady that owns one parking lot downtown, the only one that's a parking lot, she don't want nobody parking there except for her customers. So that stops that. The other thing is, if we can check on why temporarily they can use the parking behind Jim Sills' building, the gray building. We're coding them because they're parking back there, but during this process of what we're doing with no parking, can we not park back there and find out how we do that?
Yeah, I mean, is the police department ticketing now for that? Is that what's going on? Okay, we can look at that.
I mean, temporary, they still can get through. It's a closed street anyway back there, they close it off. But they're parking back there so they get rode up. But when we had the Cinco de Mayo thing there, this is the problem, we have nowhere to park. Because the businesses want their parking spots to be for them. So that was just a thought process. I don't want to take all out on this anyway, so is it okay if we let them look into that consensus? If we get an appraisal?
Yeah, that would be the next step that I would recommend, just to see what the appraisal comes back at, and we can.
How much are we talking about for an appraisal?
He just said 25.
I think it's, for that particular parcel, I think it's probably gonna be a couple $1,000, but we don't wanna have to come back. If it comes out a few dollars more, I'd say, at least authorize like $3,500, and we can get that done.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody okay? All right.
Okay.
Just look into
I think since we'd be transferring money, Mayor, we probably need a formal motion and a second and a vote on
We
that.
need a motion on it?
Yeah, since we'd be transferring money.
I'll make the motion.
Commissioner Wilson, motion.
3,500, is that what you said?
3,500.
3,500?
Your second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner First.
Do we have a contingency?
Yeah,
what-
you're
what-
at
what-
you're at $29,000 right
I don't
now.
have a,
29,000.
yeah, we got
Oh,
29,000.
okay, we got money.
Take it out of contingency.
My favorite, my favorite fund,
Okay.
yes.
Is that what you said, though?
Yeah,
Your
that's
motion?
fine.
That's what our motion was.
Okay.
All right, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously, Commissioner Brent's absent. Well, thank everybody for being here tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.